In this video, I'm going to show you how I prime my boards. First, I'm going to show you how to mix the gold color. I use the Golden brand fine pumice gel, and there's also a smaller size available, of course, but the big one is what I use because it's what I've got in my studio. There's also the Golden pastel ground, it's called. It's a newer product and works just the same. Anyway, I'm going to add a little bit to the jar, and I'm going to add color to it. A couple other alternatives to this would be the Art Spectrum Clear Multimedia Primer or Liquitex Clear Gesso, which I haven't used, but I've heard it has some grit to it. The color I use is also the Golden brand. It's the fluid acrylic color, and the color is Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold. It's a very intense color. It makes this beautiful, beautiful gold color. I learned about this color from Susan Ogilvie when I took a workshop from her. I mixed the color to the gel at approximately a 1/4 color to gel ratio. So about 1 part color to 3 parts gel. I'm going to mix it up pretty good and get it pretty smooth. So first here, I'm going to prime a piece of Gatorboard. This is Gatorboard. It looks like foam board, but it's completely rigid. I really like it for its rigidness. You can prime it and it won't warp. What I use to spread the primer around is just simply some foam. This is a piece of chair cushion foam, and I cut off pieces and I use that. You can use brushes, you can use other sorts of sponges, whatever you like, but this is my favorite method. When I start priming, I just slap a bunch down onto the board and I work in a circular motion and spread it around. I want to get it fairly smooth and consistent. And as I go around the edges, I keep the edges really loose because wherever I overlap the next pass, I don't want there to be any real firm lines going on. I want it to be a nice merging tone, something like the random variations in a stucco wall. I like a circular motion just because that's what I've gotten used to. I enjoy it. There are all kinds of ways you can spread this around. It's good to experiment for yourself and see what you like. So I just spread it, and as I smooth it out, my strokes get a little bit lighter in pressure. I want to keep it from getting too bumpy or rough. I want to get it on there nice and consistent. We'll speed this up a bit. There we go. Okay, so while this is drying, I'll show you how to do this on paper. If you don't have any Gatorboard, you can use pretty much any quality paper that will take being wet and stretched like watercolor paper. This is just a piece of extra Gatorboard that I have that I use to mount my watercolor paper on when I wet it and tape it. I really like how this works on a good smooth hot pressed watercolor paper, but right now I seem to be out of the hot pressed. So I'm going to try this on some Linox cotton paper. It feels like a nice surface, not too rough. I've also used a heavyweight Canson Bristol from Hobby Lobby, and it worked pretty well too. Just try whatever you have and see if it works. You can use the rougher cold pressed watercolor papers, but the bumpy paper surface will be the predominant texture in the painting, and I prefer creating my own texture with the primer. That's why I like working on a smooth surface. So you'll just get your paper nice and damp on both sides. I use a wet sponge with water. There, now when I tape this down, I'm just using some regular water-activated brown craft paper tape that I've had since college. If you are a watercolor artist, you probably have better options than this, but this is what I always use to hold any paper that I need to tape down and wet. This tape holds pretty good, and it actually won't easily come off of your paper. So if that's a concern of yours, you maybe should do a little research and find out what's a better paper tape for this. So there you have that. I'll put this outside in the 100-degree heat today, and it will dry in a jiffy. Meanwhile, the Gatorboard should be dry enough to cut. The right side still feels just a little bit tacky, but the left side feels dry enough to cut. And I'll show you just how easy it is to cut Gatorboard. Let's see what I can get. 16 inches, so that'll give me two 8x10s. You want to use a really nice heavy-duty utility knife with a good handle on it that you can grip. You don't want to try to cut all the way through on one cut. What you do want to do is score it once and then score it again, and on the third pass, then it just snaps. Voila! So this will get me two 8x10s. I'm going to measure that, and once again, score it. Second pass, third pass, heavier, and snap. There you go. Now my paper is nice and tight. To give you a little recap, the primer I use is the Golden brand fluid acrylic in the Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold color, mixed with the Golden brand fine pumice gel, or the pastel ground also works. I apply the primers pretty much the same way as I would on Gatorboard. I find that the paper absorbs a bit more quickly than the Gatorboard does, so it might feel a little bit different when spreading it out. When I'm done priming my paper, I leave it taped on the board because the rest of my underpainting method involves more layers of this and another acrylic-based primer. I also just leave it taped throughout the pastel process too, just in case I want to use any wet techniques while painting. Then when the painting is finished, I'll just cut around the taped edges. So there are a couple of options for you. The Gatorboard is nice for a firmer surface that won't need to be mounted or backed, and also for larger sizes. The paper is nice if you're used to working on paper or if paper is all you have. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at a workshop.